Hey guys, so today we are going to talk about bettas. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is what tank size is appropriate for your betta. Okay, so the proper tank size that you want for your betta is 5 gallons or more. Now, the reason why you want 5 gallons is because, like most fish, bettas like to swim around. They need their exercise, they need to exercise those fins, and they need to move around the tank. So, unlike all of the rumors that say they don't need it, bettas absolutely need the space. They need the room to move around. I wouldn't put them in anything less than a 5-gallon tank. Do not put them in vases, do not put them in cups, do not put them in coffee tables, do not put them in really anything that isn't a tank. They are not decorations. So many people treat these beautiful, lovely fish like decorations, and they are absolutely not. So for your betta, you're going to need 5 gallons or more. 5 gallons minimum for your betta. So, the next point that we're going to get across is bettas need a heater. They are tropical fish. Can they survive without one? Yes, but probably not for very long. When you do not give your betta a heater, you are putting them at risk for stress, diseases, and death. Generally, stress and disease come hand in hand, and then death is quickly followed if you don't fix the issue. Unlike what most rumors say, you can't just plop a betta into a cup, don't give it a heater, don't give it a filter, and it'll be fine. No, you need to get it a heater. The temperature that you're going to want to put your heater at is in between 78 and 82 degrees. That is a good range for your betta, temperature-wise. That'll make sure your betta is nice and warm and happy. Any under, your betta is bound to get stressed, and any over, your betta is bound to be at the top of the tank gasping for air. So really try to keep it between 78 to 82 degrees. That's generally like the happy spot that you want to achieve. So bettas need a filter. That's probably not going to be a surprise to most of you, but for some of you who have heard that bettas can survive anything, I'm going to explain why. So all fish need clean water. Their tanks are basically their bathroom, their bed, and their entire life. If you were swimming around in your own poop, would you really want it to never be cleaned? Would you really be content to continue breathing in all the waste and ammonia that is caused by that? Probably not. I would say most people do not want to be breathing in waste. And a filter helps remove most of that. And then there come your water changes, which help remove the rest of that, including ammonia and other bad things that you do not want in your aquarium. I've heard stories of bettas living a year without a heater and a filter, but that's not the norm. It's very unusual for that to ever happen, and you are most likely going to kill your fish within a month or two of getting it, maybe even less. So make sure you get that heater. Don't be cruel to your fish. Even if your fish does live a year, would you really want to be living in a terrible environment? It's abuse and it's not good, so make sure you have that filter. Alright, our next point is, how long do betas live? I have heard people say, oh, betas only live a couple of months, and so you can constantly be getting a new fish and replace the old fish that died because they only live a couple months. Well, here is a fact. Betas can live up to 4 years, and I've even heard of some living 7 or more. So if your beta is dying within a couple years of you getting it, a couple months of you getting it, you're doing something wrong. Your beta should be living a very long and happy life. If your beta only lives a few weeks to a month, then you are doing something wrong and you need to fix whatever it is that you are doing wrong. Lighting. Betas need proper lighting. They need it to be on the day and night cycle, just like the rest of us. So, what kind of lighting does your beta need? Well, betas are very sensitive to light. They need it, but they also don't really like bright light. So if you can get a light that can be dimmed, that's great. That would be the most ideal circumstance. However, if you already have your beta, you already have a light, and you're like, oh no, my light is, what if it's too bright for my beta? That's okay. You just have to make sure that your beta has places where he can go to hide under. So whether it be a plastic hide, some driftwood that's kind of shaped like a cave, some plants, fake plants, just something to make sure that your beta can hide underneath. If you have a bright light above, just make sure that you have decor that your beta can use as a hide to get away from that light so it doesn't get stressed. Your beta should have 8 hours of daylight and then 8 or more hours with the lights off. Basically what you want is to provide them a day and night cycle. Some people I know do 12 hours, some people do 8 and then 16. It depends on your preference really and what your beta needs, but generally make sure you have that day and night cycle so the beta knows when it's time to go to sleep. Speaking of hiding places, let's talk about decor. So your beta is very smart and very inquisitive. Betas need some sort of entertainment. So unlike us, where we go and, read books or play games or go for a walk, the way a beta entertains itself is by swimming and interacting with its surroundings. So if you have plants, it can swim underneath the plants. If you have a driftwood, it can go underneath the driftwood, come out. And really, there's only one rule that you kind of want to follow when getting decor for your beta. It doesn't matter if it's plastic, it doesn't matter if it's natural. What matters is that whatever you put in that tank will not cut your beta's fins. Betas have really, really sensitive fins. They're very thin and long and beautiful, so they get caught on things very easily. Take it from me, if you have a piece of decor in your tank that even has a single sharp edge, your beta is going to find a way to cut itself on that. I had this lovely decoration in one of my 10 gallons that I had from my beta, and I didn't notice there was a tiny little sharp edge in that on that decor, and my beta slashed his fin and had this horrible piece removed from its tail for months until it could heal back. Don't be like me. Make sure you check every single little crevice. With plastic plants, you're going to want to make sure that they aren't sharp and that they resemble real plants as much as possible. That way your beta can't cut itself on those plants. Same thing with any hides you use. Make sure the entrance and inside of the hide has absolutely nothing your beta can cut it on. Same thing with driftwood. Make sure there's no sharp pieces. As long as you do that, your beta should love whatever you put in there. Just make sure not to overcrowd the tank so your beta can still swim around. Alright, before we get into this section, just be aware that every single beta is different. And just because my betas can handle tank mates doesn't mean that your beta might be able to. Certain betas are just far too aggressive to have friends. And that's okay, we love them anyway. But just keep that in mind. If you are planning on putting a tank mate in with your beta, have a backup plan just in case something goes wrong. If you have a Cory catfish and you put it in with your beta and the beta starts attacking it, do you have a plan for what you're going to do with that catfish? Do you have another tank? Do you have someone who's willing to take the fish for you? Or does the pet store that you bought it from allow you to do returns? Just make sure that you have a plan. The worst thing you could do is buy a fish, put it in with your beta, and then just have it die because you didn't know what to do with it afterwards, after your beta already showed that it was too aggressive for tank mates. Just be smart about it, you know? And now that we've addressed that, let's talk about what sort of things you want to look for when you're looking for a tank mate for your beta. So there are plenty of videos on YouTube that say, oh yeah, use this fish, use this fish, use this fish. But instead of giving you a list of fish to put in with your beta, I will give you some guidelines that you can follow. So number 1, betas generally swim on the top of the tank. That's generally where they're, oh man, what's that word called? That's generally where their territory is. So you kind of want to avoid fish that like to swim on the top. What I would suggest is if you're going to get a fish, make sure that they stay in the mid-range tank or on the bottom of the tank. The second thing you want to look for is make sure they are not fin nippers. Your beta's fins are probably the most beautiful thing about your fish. You don't want your beta's fins to get all torn up and ruined. Not only is it unpleasant for the fish, but it could cause infection, and it's just not a good time overall. So you want to avoid fish that are known for being fin nippers. So just kind of avoid that group altogether. Don't even consider putting them in with your beta. And the third thing you want to look for a tank mate for your beta is you want to look for a fish that has a very peaceful demeanor. So betas are incredibly aggressive fish. They are very territorial, and so you do not want there to be a power struggle in your tank. If one fish is fighting to be the alpha and your beta is fighting to be the alpha of the tank, you don't want them to kill each other to get that hierarchy established. So what I suggest is you get some peaceful fish that don't care either way. If they're the boss of the tank or not. Your beta is going to be the boss or die trying. So just avoid that scenario entirely and get a peace-loving fish. Now, I've personally had success with snails. Snails have never hurt anybody, ever. My beta, I don't even think realized it was another living creature. I just think he thought it was another one of his beta balls to like toss around, because the snail got beat up a little bit, but it never like got to a point where my beta was trying to kill it, just kind of playing with it. Another tank bait that I've had success with is I've had success with albino Cory catfish with my betas. Cory cats generally stay at the bottom of the tank, while betas stay at the top. So they really don't interact that much unless my beta is resting at the bottom to like sleep or take a nap or, that sort of thing. So, and even then, my Cory really has no interest in going near the beta. If the beta comes near him, he kind of zooms away. So they don't really interact with each other. Occasionally they'll like swim near each other and just be chill, but they don't really fight. So if I had to recommend any, I would recommend those two. But again, it depends on your tank and your fish. And what you like as well. Don't forget, although we are trying to do the best for our fish, this is also your tank. So while following these guidelines, if you want a certain fish, go with that. You don't necessarily have to follow my suggestions. That's just a recommendation from me. And finally, probably my favorite part about this is you can teach your beta tricks. And that's really, really cool because betas are so intelligent and so fun-loving, and most importantly, they're very food motivated. So you can teach a betta how to jump through hoops, how to swim through hoops, how to do certain things, because really they'll do anything for food. Now, I've never personally done this, but I've seen many videos on it. And honestly, I would suggest if you're interested in teaching your fish tricks, to go ahead and do it and look up some videos. It's really, really cool and really fun. And honestly, it's just a good time all around. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please hit that thumbs up. Subscribe for more. I know I've been gone for a while, but I plan on posting more of my pets, my future plans. I have something really, really exciting to announce once I've started work on this project. I don't want to give too much away, but it is it's an aquarium that I've been working on and that I'm going to work on. There will be some videos of me building some stuff in the future, so that's going to be really exciting. As well as like a couple, what I feed my pets, how I take care of this, how I take care of that. You get to see my reptile spider. If you're not interested in that, I will put a disclaimer, don't worry, etc. And since I can, I think my plants are also my babies, you'll get to see my plants too. So it's lots of exciting stuff happening soon. And I can't wait to share it with you guys. So thank you so much for watching. Bye!